All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. Steven has now got his hat on so we can continue. We are playing Call of Cthulhu today. We're continuing our Eternal Lies campaign. Full crew back. Very happy that Maitre is back with us. It was absolutely awful without you, Maitre. I can't stand these people. So,
what a brat.
It's fair.
I have been complaining all day about you.
We did miss you, though. So that's really the take home.
That's
I'm
actually true.
so happy to be back.
Maitre.
Every day I missed you guys too. But you got so much done last session.
They did, actually. They did get a bunch of stuff done. So that was kind of cool. We had a nice interrogation.
I almost fought a hobo.
Yeah. Which was really strange. I've started to. So I write these little summaries for every episode just to keep track of everything. And I've been for years now sharing, because I write them for myself and then I started sharing them with players at the same time. And so I start to get a little catty sometimes in the summaries. And so you'll hear when I get a little catty with Pastor Wood's behavior. And then I think I did it last night too with Delta Green, where I was just like, and they did not back up. Yeah, like so. It's really fun. It's really fun.
Delightful.
But okay, we're back. Before we get started, a couple quick announcements. We have a new Discord. That's the sort of the big thing. We started up this past week. We would love for any of y'all to, what the hell would I just say? Any of you all to come hang out with us on that Discord, where you can meet the extremely friendly and sentient cluster of mushrooms known as boars, and various other things as well. So if you would like to come over, hang out. Melissa just dropped the Discord in the Twitch chat. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, check the show notes and such, and you'll find links down there. And in addition to that, we are doing a little giveaway to celebrate the new Discord from our friends at Norse Foundry. We're going to have a gift certificate that we are going to draw next Thursday around the time of our Werewolf the Apocalypse game. So if you're in the Discord by then, you are entered the win, and you might win some stuff, and you could buy some cool dice. Other than that, a couple of our friends are starting to get on Zine Quest this month. If you are familiar with ttrpgs over on Kickstarter, they do Zine Quest. It's February right now. Our buddy Pete from Garblike Games, he's got Heroic Deeds up there. We're going to be running it for a couple weeks on Tuesday, so you can see what that game looks like. But if you're curious right now, go check out his Kickstarter page. Again, link is in the chat. And then our buddy Chuck from Defenders of Cobalt in a couple weeks is going to be running his Teenage Odyssey campaign up on Kickstarter. That's going to be on the 14th. So we're just going to keep plugging that stuff until you're sick and tired of hearing it, until you go look at that stuff. Click the remind button, click the back button, whatever it is. Click a button. Just click a button, and I'm sure everything will be fine. Okay? I think that's it. Do I have anything else? We talk about anything else, Steven?
No, we're good till
I
after.
don't think anyone else is making a game worth mentioning, right?
Not really.
No play tests being run.
End of the session. End of the session. We're teasing. We're teasing.
Okay.
And
What are we teasing about?
we're professionals.
know.
We tease things and then we bring it up at the
I
end.
don't know. You know the big
I'm a
difference
professional.
between-
Wow. I've never been called that before.
One of the big differences I've learned between Steven and I is that we'll both troll people and be very mean and smart ass about it. Except the difference between us is that I will feel bad about it for the next 4 or 5 days. And Steven will forget that he was being mean to anybody and will just continue to be mean to people. That's the difference.
You have to have a conscience to feel bad. You know, like
And I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Steven spent the
Have you-
last 3 days gaslighting boars. So
I know, right? It's terrible. Steven's so jealous that that Joe, our friend Joe, is best friends with boars, that Steven has gaslit our bot on Discord to make
So
it seem
Joe
like
is
he's
just
his best
always young and beautiful and youthful, and it makes me want to kill him and take his place as Boar's best friend.
friend. Wow. Well, that's now on record. And if something bad ever happens to Joe, and let's hope not, because I like the guy, then we have evidence against you. It's great. Okay.
And now, why don't you introduce your character?
And now it's a place of Call of Cthulhu. All right, let's do a quick little intros. Steven, tell us, who are you playing?
I am playing Pastor Zephaniah Wood. I am currently a traveling evangelist, but I've got some experience in detecting. I was a Texas Ranger for a good chunk of my younger years.
Fantastic. Melissa, can you tell us who you are playing?
Yes, I am playing.
I'm just making sure you're paying attention. Oh my God, she's gonna get so mad at me.
So
later.
what you're doing. I am playing Marie, aka Sissy May, aka May. She is a jazz singer by profession. She is having loads of fun here in this little trip out to Los Angeles. And she was hoping to get more of that fresh citrus last time and was very sad that the citrus truck had left the side street by the graveyard by the time we left, and there was no more citrus. So, mission number 1 today, fresh citrus.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't listen to most of that, and I was like, is she getting confused in talking about our werewolf game, which is set in an orange grove? So I was like, what are you talking about? And then I remembered. Next up, might try to tell us about Shaima.
Shaima is your student researcher, a library studies major from Misconneq, who is on a full ride wrestling scholarship and just really excited to be here. And she had just this weird dream and needed to get out of her head. And she wanted Dr. Key to not worry, but I think I may have made her worry in trying to make her not worry.
Could be. It could be. We'll see. We're gonna see what Shaima was doing pretty quickly. I don't know. Probably getting high on all the drugs in LA we've been learning about.
You having some of that nectar, Shaima? You gotta avoid that shit.
Ashley, go ahead and tell us about your character and take approximately 26 seconds to do so.
Well, hello. My name is Beverly Key. I am not She's
That was great.
professor of anthropology. And yeah, she's got a specialty in, or like I guess not a specialty, but she dabbles in cryptography. So one of the things that she's kind of been working on in between all this other stuff is decoding this book that we found that has secret notes regarding oh God, what's their name? Help. Echevara and Buchwald, otherwise referenced in the book as Black and Town Car.
That's right. That was a thing.
I don't have a timer, so I don't know if that was 20
That's
seconds.
good. I'm done. You're good. Thank you. That's excellent. Excellent job. Excellent job. I don't know what that
You
was.
asked me to like
you
hold
now have to do that.
so I got weird.
That's good.
You know,
Hey, we went full on transatlantic. That was
Absolutely.
Love it.
you guys should just have me mic'd up as I'm getting ready for stream because it gets real weird.
But then I'll start talking in a southern accent, and you'll just absorb it.
I will.
true.
And I just mimic Jeff 90% of the time.
Infectious. That is an
Okay.
infectious accent.
It is.
It really is.
It's very infectious. I agree. It's very.
No.
Should I get started right now?
No.
I
No.
reckon you should.
Well, I think that's a good idea. See, that's 3-1.
If only I could do like the deep, scary voice. Like then I'd surprise you guys real bad if I did that one day.
You should do it. Just give it a try. Just keep it.
Not on stream. I'll try that later.
Just do your Odmus voice.
Sometimes when
What?
I'm doing NPCs
Your
that I don't
Odmus.
know. Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one. Sometimes when I don't know, like when you guys talk to an NPC and I'm like, I have to come up with a voice, I don't know what's about to come out of my mouth. So I just open my mouth and I just like
Amazing.
contort it some way and be like, we'll see what happens. And then suddenly it's
I
like,
would love to believe
Yeah.
that's what happened with Boris. Like in my that is what happened.
Boris, I had a plan.
head.
I have to be fair. I did have a plan. I was just like, I wanted, because I wanted it to be a little bit of a shock. So it was kind of
I
fun.
Go back and
love-
watch
I think
that
I'd
clip
still
and his
have
eyes
him
light
around
up.
so long,
Yes.
but I probably should have realized that.
Steven
Melissa,
totally
I take what
caught
you're
that
saying.
with the clip.
It was
Mhm.
so
It was so
great.
funny.
That was so great.
You see.
Imagine if you guys run into a character who has that voice. Like,
Well, hello there, young friends.
How's it going,
I
Elmo?
don't know. I know nothing about Cthulhu. Anyhow,
oh god, it's the worst.
Somehow made it to
and then-
Sesame Street.
It's a little Elmo, yeah. And then finally, we have one more investigator to introduce ourselves to, or introduce to us. Long, tell us about Patrick.
Patrick Price here, the best barber on the East Coast. That's all you need to know.
Okay, I like it. That's fantastic. We're on the West Coast now, but that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
He's out of his
fantastic.
element. He's the best barber on the East Coast, and he's trying to figure out what he is on the West Coast.
When I needed the extra seconds, I was like, should I ask Ashley or should I ask Long to fill for me while I do this? Who should I ask? Oh goodness. All right, why don't we go ahead and get ourselves started? Let's do a little summary. So last time around, you all woke up in the morning. Bev, Marie, in your shared suite in your hotel with Shima. You found that she'd already departed, but she did leave a note on the nightstand saying not to worry, that she had something that she had to take care of. And so you all proceeded with your investigation. Pastor Wood, Marie, you took one of the cars that you all had rented, and you started traveling up north. You stopped first at the Forest Lawn Cemetery that was mentioned in Echeveria's obituary, and eventually to the farmland that he owned in the early 1920s. At the cemetery, you learned that his plot, Echeveria's plot, had been paid for by someone by the name of Samson Trammell. And then you had a weird encounter with a vagrant nearby that brought out the very judgmental side of Pastor Wood, surprisingly, with the two of them nearly coming to blows. Later at the farmland, Marie and Wood, you both, it was a little surprising, aren't you? It's the most violent pastor.
Texas pastor.
I see.
What?
Oh no.
That's what you
I didn't do anything.
Yeah, okay, buddy. Let's see. Where was I? Later at the farmland, Marie and Wood, you basically confirmed that the site was the site of the massacre by Edgar Job and Douglas Henslow, who described that back at Joy Grove. You found rubble of two burned out buildings, likely a farmhouse and a barn, and there was a feral cat that had made its home within some of the rubble that attacked you all. You found a ruined beam from the barn and several flat stones in the area that bore glyphs and runes that kind of had this weird duality to them, but certainly lend credence to the notion that something occult had happened here. Was not really much else beyond that. Meanwhile, Bev and Patrick, you managed to find Abraham Buchwald. He was in the LA Public Records. He's an accountant. He was active currently in LA. You paid him a visit, and you convinced him, his secretary, to let you meet with him. And he was kind enough at first, but his demeanor grew kind of nervous and cagey and such as you started asking him questions about Echeverria and the various events from 1924. He described the man as a kind of a cult leader, and once again said that they worship something called Golgoroth. That's a name you've heard before. They also participated, according to Buchwald, in depraved sex and drug parties, and they also brought in some famous folks like Richard Spend, and the accountant himself, Abraham Buchwald, denied taking part of these. All he did was work the books. That's basically all he did. He admitted that Echeverria got a lot of his money from peddling a drug that he referred to as nectar, and that he'd entertained the idea at some point of potentially allying with local crime families in Los Angeles. Eventually, he stressed that he is now a respected family member, and he did not see any profit in dredging up the past. So you two left, and you joined your fellow investigators at the farm plot in the north. And that's when you guys realized that you were being watched. All around you, there were generational farmlands, but there were also plots that are being newly developed, including one that was bordering on Echeveria's old land. And that's where you spoke with a pair of workers who kind of were just watching you the whole time. Pastor Wood tried to lie, got immediately called out for his bullshit. And still, the foreman remained fairly cordial and explained that the company had delayed developing Echeveria's land because there was all sorts of like wild animal attacks that had delayed things and caused some trouble. And then later, as you were leaving, trying to head back to LA, you noticed you're being followed by one of those workers. And when confronted in a very peculiar way with a 3-point torn and a gun, the worker noted that a man had paid him and others to look for anyone poking around that plot of land, handed over a card that Jack Pisner Private Investigation Services. And that is what happened last time around. And now let's get started. So we're going to pick up after you all had your issues on the road outside the farm. It was kind of mid to late afternoon. You eventually left. You got the things that you needed. You chased him off into the farmland. He ran away. You took your cars, drove away. And we're going to pick up evening time. You all, so Marie and Patrick and Beverly and Pastor Wood, you all are walking into the lobby of your hotel, again, which is Venice, near the water. And you can see that there is an ample amount of social activity. There's a restaurant near the lobby. There's people coming and going, some dressed up very nicely as if they're going to go out in the town. Others just coming back from day trips to the beach and whatnot. And that's when we'll say, Pastor Wood, give a fairly high, whoever's got a high listen, one of you will say, Pastor Wood, you hear the excitable voice of Shima, who you haven't seen all day. And then after Pastor Wood, I think it trickles to everybody else, coming from the hotel itself and from the hotel restaurant. When you look over, Pastor, you can see that she is apparently at a table in the restaurant with a fairly dashing looking man, salt and pepper-ish kind of hair, darker hair with little bits of gray, probably in his 50s or so. And the two of them are in conversation, though when I say the two of them, it looks like Shima is in conversation and he is in listen mode. And so that is what you guys see when you come in. What do you guys want to do?
Miss Oberon, did not know you had a social event
scheduled
for tonight.
And she excitedly waves them all over. And we'll get up and we'll be, can I have your chair? May I have your chair? His right is politely
taking him before they even say okay. You just start taking him and moving him over. Okay.
So I am moving 4 more chairs. So now there are 6 of us at this 2-person table.
And who is your friend here?
This. And it is very clear that she is incredibly starstruck. And, this is Ed the Viper. Excellent. And she looks at the man and says, this is Patrick Bryce. He's a barber. But don't you think he should be in the movies? This is Sissy May Wynn. And she is a famous singer who is beautiful and glamorous. And then she kind of clears her throat, looks a little uncomfortable. And this is Pastor Wood, who you sweet text stranger. Remember I told you about wrangle up some love? Just like that. And now I'm learning so much about Satan from him. And she gets this big smile and stands behind Dr. Key and pushes her forward. This is Dr. Key, who got me that extension on the paper that I was telling you about.
And so he, this whole entire time, has been trying to introduce himself and shake hands, but Shima's just been going and going. So every time she goes and introduces somebody, his head lifts as he's about to talk, but then Shima just mows through it. And finally, on Dr. Key, it almost looks like he's not going to speak because he feels like it's probably not going to happen. But he's like, "Oh well, you're Dr. Key. Oh, well, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Edward Exley. Call me Ed. That's certainly just fine. Shima here is a very energetic young lady, as I think you all are probably no doubt familiar. But she has not stopped talking about you, Dr. Key, ever since we sat down. I'll tell you that. But it's an absolute pleasure."
At the mention of her just constantly talking about her, usually she's a very stoic woman, and she kind of just blushes and gives Maria a what look. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Shima has informed me a lot about your accolades as well.
He's a 4-time middleweight gold belt champion and aspiring Olympian, and I have seen him 3 times.
It's 3 now. I didn't realize it was 3. I apologize. I don't remember the other 2. I certainly remember the first time. She darn near broke my hand the first time we met. Never had someone so excited to see old Viper. I got to tell you that. But what was that now? Was that the Bouts of Valor, Arkham, 1934? I think it was, if I'm correct.
Right near Infinity. And
Independence
she is
Square, indeed it was.
practically squealing.
Oh well, I had a good show that night, I tell you that. But the morning after, whew, that was a far more difficult task to overcome. There's some good whiskey in Arkham, I can tell you that. Anyhow, join us if you haven't already. Yeah,
Mr.
yes.
Exley,
Oh, Ed's just fine. Ed's just fine.
Oh, well, yes. And I must ask, a nickname like the Viper, how does one get a nickname such as that?
Oh, well, in my former profession, we all have a stage name of sorts. And for me, particularly, it was because I had this, well, it's best to show you. Pastor Wood, could I bother you for a second?
I suppose so. I'll
Okay,
stand
now
up.
if you wouldn't be so kind, it's just all you have to do is stand right there and act all menacing. Can you do that, sir?
Certainly.
Excellent. Now, Miss Wynn. So what we did is, well, it's a bit of theater. We wrestling, entertainment, that sort of combination of things, and so we would also have all these little storylines going on in here and there. So let's say that Mr. Wood here was some sort of terrible cretin. He was kind of coming down and wandering throughout the ring, and he was looking to take me down. Well, I would just kind of coil up, just down like this, and he starts like squatting really low, and then I would just lunge out at him, just snap down, just like a viper. And so he does that. He just lunges out at you,
dear.
Pastor Wood, kind of grabs you, but just like that. There we go. Now,
Can I
normally,
try to counter?
Sure, go right ahead.
Sharma
Would this
leans
be brawl?
over to Dr. Keatus, like, you should ask to see his legs.
Shima, that is
Would this
so
be brawling?
forward.
Brawl's
No,
fine.
because they're muscle. They're like, he's called a viper because he jumps. Like that.
That's a hard success.
You actually succeed. I passed two, but I didn't get a hard success. Okay, so he leaps out at you and he's kind of explaining the whole thing, and you just like move him around and talk. Oh well, look at that. We're just demonstrating a bit of fun there for the ladies, there, Pastor. Oh boy, I tell you, your age belies your strength. That's for sure. Oh
Sorry,
goodness.
you took me by surprise.
Well, that's kind of surprising considering how I told you exactly what was about to happen, but that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. I understand instincts of a warrior. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyhow,
He was a Texas Ranger.
oh,
You
were
shouldn't
you now?
sneak up on someone who used to work in law enforcement.
Oh, that's fabulous. I grew up in Dallas myself. Never a ranger, but I did spend a significant amount of my youth in the great state of Texas. I've traveled obviously since then, and I settled down here in the West. Retired
I prefer to think
from
of
my-
myself more as a lawman than a warrior. I practice the law of our great nation, and now I practice the law of the Old Testament.
Well, aren't you just a entertaining old soul? Anyhow, he kind of turns back to everyone at this point, dusted himself off. He's like, anyhow, well, Shima and I, we ran into each other over at the Westwood Society. Well, he kind of looks down at Dark Kids athletics club that many of us gentlemen going a little bit further on in our years have to attend to keep ourselves fit and fabulous for the young locals that are starting to gather around this city. But my eyes, I thought, were deceiving me when I saw this young woman who very nearly broke my hand, as I said. There she was, just wandering in that day. But we got to talking, and here we are. The day just got away from us. So, such an eclectic group. She's told me so many things about you, but not exactly what y'all doing out here in the great city of Los Angeles.
Well,
Not
you
that
see,
you have to tell me
there was
either, but
Well, I wasn't sure what you and Miss Oberon had conversed about earlier in the day, but we actually, our path here is crossed a little bit, actually, with UCLA.
you don't say. Well, what a wonderful bit of fate. I myself am an employee of UCLA. Unfortunately, I hurt myself in the ring, and the tour tended to fold, and they started moving towards more younger entertainers and wrestlers. And honestly, I just didn't really want to do the whole circuit anymore. So, Well, I went into to wrestling proper, so I've been working as one of the athletics coaches here at the University of California, Los Angeles. Yes, sir.
Coach Exley is the coach of the winning UCLA wrestling team, and to get him as like stars. It's like my coach has been reaching out to Coach Exley for years now to get tips and tricks and or months at least. But either way, Coach Exley.
It would be wrong of me to deny a lifetime of expertise. Folks handed that kind of information down to me, and it'd be wrong of me not to hand it down to others. And so I'm just here as an educator, as a coach, and as an advisor to younger athletes who are looking to come on up and make a career out of it, whether it's going into competitions or doing the entertainment track. Now, the film industry out here, they're getting more and more interested in all sorts of folks with sort of athletic backgrounds. I think they call them stunt workers is what they're sort of thinking on about. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, indeed. So you're interested in UCLA. Well, for what reason? One of you attending?
No. We actually came across the name of someone who had been a professor, might not be a current professor, but had been a former professor, I believe, Mr. George Ayers. Does that name ring a bell? And she kind of drops her voice a little bit when she kind of mentions the name.
George Ayers. I'm sorry to say that doesn't immediately ring a bell. Do you know what department he might have worked at? I've only been UCLA near 2 years myself.
I believe he was anthropology, which is my division. Would you by chance be willing to take me on a tour of the campus?
He leans forward.
If it is possible, Shiva's smile gets even wider.
He's like, well, madam, I would be more than happy to take you on a tour. It's a fabulous and beautiful place indeed. Palm trees as far as the eye can see and sunshine. I'd be more than happy to. Anthropology. Well, that's just fascinating now. That's absolutely fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, my ass, what exactly is it that an anthropologist like yourself does?
And she kind of goes into like what her latest study has been at Arkham.
My goodness. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I was hoping that I could reach out to him and perhaps get some additional information for my latest paper I've been working on.
Well, I can't say that I am familiar with anyone within the anthropology department. I'm not entirely sure that we even have an anthropology department, but we do have a history department. And I have a handful of contacts, friends, you might say, within that department who might be able to sort of lead you in the directions you might need to go. The name itself escapes me, I'm sorry to say. They do keep us relatively isolated. Kind of a silo effect is what we call it, apparently, in academia. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, but this dear friend of mine, Dr. Hamish McDunn, wonderful man. Well, very odd man. Eccentric, you might say, but he actually runs that history department. I can make an introduction if that is something you would be interested in doing.
That would be lovely.
Oh, well, I would be more than happy to do so. More than happy to. Any friend of Shima's is a friend of mine.
Shima turns a little red.
I must admit, I was never quite the scholastic type, which is how I ended up as a singer. But a tour of a college campus might be the one and only time I might be able to set foot in such a place. My abilities do not rise to the level of higher education.
Well, I imagine that the study of music is, I'm certain there's an academic field within that as well. I would imagine if they are allowing athletics on a college campus, they would more than certainly allow such endeavors as music and art. This is the city for it, after all.
Yes,
perhaps. Miss Wynn, I mean, if you wanted to look around the Miskatonic campus, I could show you. I mean, if you wanted to see it, I could probably show you the Miskatonic campus if you wanted.
Well,
it's boring. You maybe
It's
Doctor,
such a-
you'd probably do a better job.
Bev
no.
whispers. Aren't they cute?
such a generous offer, and I do believe that college campuses can the design and the architecture can just give you a little bit of taste as to kind of each city, because certainly no two campuses are alike, and it tells you a little bit about the sensibilities of a place.
So
That is well
smart.
said. That's very well said, man. Very well said, madam. Well, I believe I have taken up enough of young Shime's time. I'm sure you all want to get back to whatever business it is that brought you out here, and I will take my leave. If you would like to call upon me tomorrow, come by the campus. I shall.
Dr. Key, perhaps you can walk Coach Exley to the door.
That would be my pleasure. And she'll stand.
And so he well, that's very kind of you, very kind. Well, it was a pleasure to meet every one of you. Pastor Wood, next time rematch. Miss Wynn, Shama, of course, it has been an absolute pleasure again. And Mr. Price, well, we barely had a chance to talk. Next time we shall have to have you shall have to engage me in conversation. I'm curious about, well, the hairstylings of the young and fashionable out in the East Coast.
Oh, we should. Your hair was impeccable. I could stare at it the entire time. I couldn't get a word out.
That's so very kind of you. I do tend to take good care of it. They have excellent hairdressers out here. Indeed, they do. So he gets up. He walks out with Beverly. Shima, you see from a distance, like he's talking the whole time here and there, and he's kind of laughing and this and ever. And so eventually he departs.
Bev gives him her contact info. You can call me Bev. And leaves.
You can call me Ed. And just tomorrow, anytime, just stop by. I'll be over in the athletics building. And if you come on over, I can make that introduction for you. Or I can just, you can just go over to the history department, speak to Mr. McDonough, or you can talk to the department secretary, Samantha Burnish. She's, well, she is a interesting woman if you mention my name, I'm sure that will ease entry.
Excellent. Thank you.
Fantastic.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you tomorrow regardless.
Well, I look forward to it. Have a wonderful evening.
You as well.
And then, like, someone from the hotel kind of flags down a cab for him, and he departs. All right, back to you guys. It's nighttime, Los Angeles. Anything you guys are up to?
I'm so sorry I left with just a note. I had a very bad dream, and Coach is just always on me about eating certain foods and going to bed at a certain time and working out, and I haven't been doing any of that, and I'm worried about a paper, and I just need to clear my head. So I went for a run, and then I went to this gym that would have, it didn't really allow me to go in, but Coach actually was there and vouched for me and got me in, and even showed me a few new moves and some exercising I can do on the road, and very excitedly relays the details of her day, which was spent mostly with Ed, actually.
Well, I'm glad you weren't alone and that you had someone with you. Not to mother on you too much, but please wake me next time.
I will. I was trying not to worry you.
That did the opposite, but I appreciate the sentiment. Also, and she turns and she looks for Marie to Shima. You're trying to hook me up.
I told you he was very good looking, and for someone your age. And
how old do you think I am, Shima?
Like 40? I don't know. Is
well, but 35.
This is, I'm sorry, hilarious to me because I'm pretty sure my way is actually older than Ashley by like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Like in real life, I'm like 90% sure.
And Marie sort of pivots when sort of this conversation is going, and she says, Mr. Price and Pastor Wood, was Mr. Exley not just a delight to share a conversation with?
I don't trust that man.
And he pulls out a notebook. He gave me a second autograph, and it says, "Don't stop swinging," and the Viper Exley.
Well, that gentleman certainly does know how to keep his fans happy. Just delightful. Fans of his wrestling, and the kind of gestures over to Patrick, fans of his finely coiffed hair.
Close your books. You should all see his legs.
That's a little risque, Miss Shima.
No, because that's why he has his name. Because of the jumping.
And Beverly winks at you because she's clearly teasing you.
Shima does not understand.
All right. Well, I love this, but I have a book to translate, decrypt. I'm heading to my room. And Beverly stops at the bar. She gets herself 2 martinis that she's double fisting, and she walks right up to the room.
Okay. So I'll say, Bev, if you invest the rest of the night before you go to bed in trying to decrypt this this accounting book, you'll be able to. So previously, you remember looking at it, and it definitely looked like someone was keeping track of transactions. You've known from talking to Buchwald that he was likely the one doing that. You also had a small advertisement slip that was written in the hand of Douglas Henslow that had and it said 2 things. One, it said town car. I think it was town car equals Buchwald, and I think
Black equals Echivara.
Yeah, Echevarria.
Echevarria. Whoops.
Yeah, that's how I've been pronouncing it. I think that's right, or as close as I'm going to get to it. So as you start looking into it some more, and again, this is all over the course of several hours, you notice that it is most certainly a record of inventories and sales through a network of what appear to be anonymous retailers that are identified by code name. And so the town car, Black, all that was for sure coded. But there's also other ones like Slick and Moses and Umbrella, and you don't have a key to go on to potentially translate that. So it's all anonymous in that way. However, you are able, because of the time that you spent with Buchwald, to actually kind of make an interesting sort of discovery. Is the product that appears to be being tracked is identified by the letter N, and only the letter N. It's never given a name or anything like that. And you can see that it's tracked in very small volumes of liquid ounces. And it appears to sort of cover the time between about August of 1922 through about July of 1924, which is just before August, where everything went to hell in the barn and then in the Northland. You looking at it, which is kind of alarming in some ways, is that a unit volume of N appears to fetch about $3 of retail price, which is roughly the equivalent to the cost of a car tire or a pair of prescription glasses in the 1930s. So it's extremely expensive, and you can tell with great certainty, like Buchwald is definitely the one who did this. And because when you remember back to his conversation that he referenced nectar as the product, and you're seeing N, and it seems pretty clear that this was tracking nectar trades, and that is like the drug, whatever that might be, that they were selling and distributing.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, so that was what Bev was doing for the night. Was anybody else? We don't have to necessarily do anything, but I want to give everyone the opportunity. Was there anything more that you wanted to do in the night before starting again in the morning?
Just having a drink in the lobby, filling in Shima what we found today.
Amazing. Thank you. Just for flavor, Sherman's just going to, because the dream clearly means that she just needs to grab life and have more verve about living. And so she's going to ask, finally summon the courage to ask Marie for an autograph, and we'll give you the same page as like edX's, and we'll ask Marie for an autograph.
Oh my word! Well, I mean, I must say that I am certainly no national championship winning coach as your Mr. Exley is, and I can certainly see that it was a delight to spend the day conversing with him. You seem quite taken with him, and he seems like quite a delightful individual. And I can see why. And she looks around, and Dr. Key went up to her room. I can see why you are attempting some matchmaking. It's very fun.
Was it very obvious?
I don't think he caught on necessarily. It was just a walk out to the door. I'm sure Dr. Key knew exactly what you were doing. But
well, all of you are so very good at talking to people, and I'm trying to be good like all of you are talking
Ms.
to people.
Oberon, you spent the day chatting with someone who was clearly your idol, and you could have been absolutely gobsmacked and tongue-tied and just said, hi, and ran the other way. But you spent the entire day talking to him, and that's just wonderful.
And at that, she turns a little red and say, thank you, Miss Wynn. That's very nice of you to say. And we'll push the book at her.
and she'll kind of go into sort of like a corner, and she'll write something that I can't come up with quickly off the top of my head, but it's going to be like a play off of like the name of a song or something. So there'll be a cleverness to it, and then love, Marie.
Miss Wynn, I didn't realize that you were considered famous.
Well, it was just these things all depend on location. I certainly could go on, and she dropped out of higher education, so she has a little bit of kind of negative taste in her mouth about sort of the like rigors of academia and that kind of a thing. So I'm sure if I were to walk onto a college campus, absolutely no one would know who I am. But within certain circles in Chicago and other places that I visited, I suppose.
He was top billing for most of the Black and Tans that I went to back in Arkham.
That brings up another question I was meaning to ask Miss Wynn. I'm not too fond of jazz. Do you know any trail songs?
Do I know any trail songs? Would you like to fill me in a little bit as to what is considered a trail song? Says Melissa.
Sure, I'll start singing a trail song. It's the folk origins of country music that cowboys would sing as they're traveling.
Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah, like that vibe.
That sounds like a genre that is not necessarily the after hours in a Black and Tan in Chicago type billing. But you know what? I absolutely adore learning about all different types of music. So I would love to give you the stage and learn from you, Pastor.
Well, no, I'm not any good at singing. It's not my profession like yours. I was just curious if, maybe you could expand your repertoire and, throw in a hymn or a trail song here and there.
Well, absolutely. Now hymns, I mean, I did grow up in the church choir and all of that before, setting my wings off to jazz. So I could, that's no problem. I can certainly join you there. But you have given me something to study. And I must say, the thing that drives me most is curiosity about the world and all its facets. So thank you, Pastor Wood. I am most delighted in the opportunity to add a trail song or two. And who knows, perhaps that wedding back down south might be an opportunity for me to throw in something new.
I'm sure they would appreciate it. You know, jazz isn't as popular down south.
Oh, perhaps. Perhaps you speak truth.
As you guys are talking, Pastor Wood, you periodically, maybe absentmindedly, you just find yourself like rubbing your wrist a bit. And then at one point, Marie, when you see him do that, he pulls his right arm off of his left wrist, and you notice that there is a large red bump, maybe the size of like a dime or a little less than that. It's like a terrible, like infected, like insect bite, like mosquito bite of some kind. You take a look down at it; it's bright red, almost purple, and you realize, Pastor, you've been kind of fiddling with it for a little while. During the conversation, it was just happening, and you kind of look down now, and it's just looked like this big, pussy mass.
Pastor, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I must have been bitten by something in that field. I'm sure it's not a problem.
Is it itchy?
Did the
It
cat
looks
get you
itchy.
too?
Well, the cat bit me in the ankle. I don't believe this is from the cat. It looks more like an insect bite. I confess I don't spend much time in California to know what this bite, maybe a spider bite? I'm guessing.
That seems like something that you should certainly get attended to. My goodness, you would not want an infection to take hold and be limited in your mobility.
I'm sure
Shab
it'll be
is
fine.
reaching
If we don't
into
get
her
it in the
water
wash, we'll
glass
get it
and,
in the rinse.
pulling out the ice from her water glass and putting it in like a napkin and handing it over to Pastor Wood, like might help with the inflammation at least.
Thank you. And I'll just, like, out of politeness, put it there for like a few seconds and then set the ice down.
And I would say that Marie, sort of instinctually seeing that, will sort of reach to her neck where she got the cat bite, and she'll just sort of like pat at it and just make sure that she's not like oozing pus.
It
that
hurts.
was
It
unaware
actually
to her.
hurts. You're not oozing pus or anything, but when you do actually rub your hand against it, it does feel like you're pushing down on a very sensitive bruise.
Oh, speaking of that cat, though, that really did do a number on my neck. I love cats, but the ones like that have been out in goodness knows where just really shouldn't pierce skin. That will be concerning.
Well, we've all had a rough day out in the farm. Let's go get cleaned up.
And we'll say that's exactly what you guys do. You guys return to your various rooms, get cleaned up, get some rest. And Beverly, by the time Shima and Mary come, you are maybe you're asleep with your face directly in the accounting of two empty martini glasses right next to you.
Oh my.
And we'll
Bottles.
say, yeah, bottles of martini. Like they had that back then. And so morning comes eventually. You all wake. Pastor, two things you notice when you wake up. First, you have somehow acquired a limp. And you look down at your ankle where the cat bit you, and you can see that your ankle has swollen up a bit and is a bit discolored. It's actually kind of painful to step on. And the inflammation in your wrist, while Chime is not wrong, the coolness of the ice certainly helped initially. It does, overnight, it's kind of gotten kind of gross and discolored, and it's still kind of bothering you. Marie, sort of same deal as you're washing up in the morning, or if you're getting makeup or something ready. When you touch your hand against your neck, again, you can feel as though the bruise is still quite present. There's no real mark that you can see, Marie. There's like a little bit of a cut here and there. It feels worse than it looks in your case.
And she'll kind of call out because she's sharing a room with Dr. Key and Miss Oberon, and she'll kind of call out, it might not be bad to perhaps see if the hotel has a doctor on call. I know I hate to be that person, but we'll have to see how Pastor Wood is doing this morning. But I for one wouldn't mind a little official medical attention just to make sure that this isn't getting infected or something.
And that's when Beverly like pops her head out. What are you talking about? Because she was kind of really like more paying attention to her notes and stuff while you guys were off doing things. So she never saw either of your injuries. And so she'll like pull out a chair from like her armoire or whatever. Come sit down. Let me look at it.
Yes, you see, there was a cat that was in the barn, and it gave quite a fright to myself and Pastor Wood.
Was it foaming at the mouth?
Oh, Dr. King, I'm sure that's important information for you, but I have to say, it was all a blur. It was up, and then it was down, and it was on my neck, and then it bit the pastor in the ankle, and I'm sorry, I don't remember that detail.
Okay.
If you want to roll a medicine, you can go ahead.
Okay, medicine.
Yeah, it would be medicine because you're not trying to heal it. You're just trying to sort of assess it or treat it or understand it.
2.
Yeah. Fantastic. So that's an extreme success, I would imagine. First you can tell that it doesn't look that bad, to be honest. It looks like it's the type of thing that'll heal up pretty quickly. It is a little curious that when you look at it, it looks like it's already starting to heal, but it's still as tender as Maria is describing it. That is a little odd. But in terms of like the scar that it's leaving from where it was bit, she mentions it was a cat. I mean, this doesn't look like a cat bite. I know you're not. I mean, I'm not sure how familiar Beverly is with cats, but at the very least, you can tell that the various like teeth and fangs, it looks crooked. The teeth themselves look malshapen or crooked. Like if she wouldn't have told you it was a cat, you would never have said a cat in this situation. And so definitely if it was, then something was quite wrong with that cat's mouth. Like it was ingrown teeth, misgrown, malshapen, that sort of thing, broken jaw, something along those lines. But there's nothing that you can glean to suggest it's going to cause problems other than if she can just sit through the pain, if she can just get over the pain, it'll probably be fine.
And she'll tell you that, I'll keep an eye on you just in case for symptoms of rabies, but I think you're fine.
But it quite hurts. It is quite very painful. And she's sort of a little whiny at this. Like, this is just, are you sure? It just could. I'm gracious. The discomfort
I'm positive.
Is quite extreme. Okay. And she'll kind of grab a, high-necked shirt.
Sure.
That she'll kind of put on. I'm very worried about Pastor Wood, though. If I am in this much pain, I'm sure he must be as well.
So in the
and he's having sort of the exact opposite response, where he's pulled out his knife and he's picking at this bug bite, trying to lance it.
If you do, it very much pops, and you see this just sort of discolored, milky liquid like with great viscosity just pour out. The smell is abhorrent to the point where you have to kind of cover your mouth. That's how bad it is. And it's not like there's a ton of it coming out. Like I said, it's the size of less than a dime, but it pours out to the point where Patrick, if you're in the same area as the two of you, I think might be sharing or a suite or something like that, you can smell it as well. It's just this foul odor as he's wiping the knife off on like a handkerchief. It eliminates some of the pain, but the stench is pretty terrible, and it still is itchy.
I wash it out as best I can in the sink, assuming we have one in the room. And I'm also a horrible roommate. I'm going to just grab the nearest thing I see, which is probably one of Patrick's socks, completely unintentionally, and I'll use that to wrap my wrist.
It's absolutely foul, Pastor. You can keep that. I'll meet you outside.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was this yours? I thought it was one of mine.
Wow. All right. So we'll say then eventually as everyone's ready, you get downstairs, have breakfast, whatever it is that you do in terms of getting ready in the morning. What's the plan for today? What are we thinking? I ask nervous because whenever I ask that question, whoa. But what's the plan for today?
So we do have a couple options. We did say we could call upon some of us at least could go see the university. If the other half maybe want to go check out that private investigator or something.
Yeah, we have a Jack prisoner to look into.
Yeah, we have
Passive.
the university. We've got that one, and then we also probably want to see if we can get some information about Mr. Trammell.
Trammell one
is-
for
the
academic
inner circle.
matters. I believe the private investigator would be a better lead for me to follow.
I would love to take a tour of campus.
I'll follow Wood here.
Ladies to campus then.
The big fun.
I'm so
Okay.
excited to be back on campus.
Girls'
I-
Day on UCLA.
Books. Yeah. We're gonna have a beach episode, guys. Where
Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't think I have music to go with that. Okay,
spring break
all
with
right.
Hot Wrestler Man.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what he-
dream yet, actually.
just wait till he puts his swimming trunks on and you see the calves, Ashley. Mike and I talked about this. We
Hey.
talked at great length about the quality of his calves. Okay.
It better
okay,
be
so you
as
guys,
advertised.
you guys split up, and one of you heads off to what set of you heads off to UCLA. The rest of you, so Pastor Wood and Patrick Price, when you say that you are looking into this private investigator, what does that mean? Like, so what does that? What do you guys want to do? You do have a card.
His address is right here. Drive you.
I say we start a fire on one side of the building and we go in the other side. No. Let's go to the office and just talk to him.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so that'll be the quicker one to get to. So we'll start with that one. As you guys head into the direction of the address, it's not hard to find. You probably have to. Los Angeles is a little is hard to navigate here and there, but you're able to get to it without a whole lot of difficulty, and you'll get there a lot quicker than the women will get to UCLA. Let's see. What do I want to do? Let's do. I'm sorry, I'm getting music ready. So when you arrive, you're headed to 625 West 5th Street, Los Angeles. It's near Pershing Square, nearby, and you can tell immediately that it's not the greatest sort of neighborhood in the world. It's not as immaculate as some of the other places you've passed before. You notice the address, and as you're looking, it's a building of some kind, of a business, kind of commercial building, second story. It looks like it appears to be, as you look at the like a kiosk near the front of the building outside, all the different businesses that are here. It's a bunch of like white collar things. So it's like sales, like insurance and real estate and transcription services, those types of things. All the offices are opening to the outside. There's no sort of internal hallway. So everything has sort of an outside look to it. It's basically like a lot of these Southern California buildings you've been seeing. And there's like a walk around on the outside as well. Assuming you go straight up, you do notice that there is lettering on the door outside that repeats basically what is on the business card, Pisner Private Investigation Services. That's what you see. Which one of you? What do you guys have for luck?
20.
99.
Oh God. Well, it's very clearly Patrick then. So Patrick, go ahead and roll a luck test.
Pastor Wood is max.
Holy crap, man.
86
99.
fail.
You knock on the door, wait a few moments, and there's no response.
He's not in pass.
If I knock, do we get to do my luck test?
No, it's the person with the lower luck.
I'll give the handle a little twist, see if it opens.
It doesn't open, but you can tell immediately that it suffered some damage. Like you can see like the The door itself is on the frame. There's a little bit of damage. Like at some point, maybe it was kicked in or kicked open or something like that, or somebody else has maybe tried to break the handle off. It certainly looks like this office has had its fair share of violent enterings. So with that in mind,
Pasta, and I'll start picking it.
okay, that's a locksmith test. Absolutely.
I was ready to kick, so I'm glad you're picking it.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see if this works. 20 in
Okay.
locksmith.
Turn
that's
around,
fantastic.
keep watch.
Okay.
Oh, so close.
Wow.
Except not
Okay.
89.
All right. You can push it. So we don't really do pushing a whole lot here in Call of
Yeah,
Cthulhu, but
remind
you
me
could
what that
push
does
it.
again. It's just
So
a
the
reroll?
risk is, yeah, it's just a reroll, but there's essentially two risks to it. One is that if you push and fail, something bad will probably happen. And so in the case of this, more than likely someone's going to catch you. And the other thing is that I don't think you can use luck on a pushed roll. So it's like you very much have to roll 20 or under.
Long's got 20 luck anyways.
Mhm.
Isn't gonna,
Yeah,
like,
I'll give it a push. Why
Or
not?
40 or, yeah. Okay.
ruh-roh.
Push. Come on, big buddy. Oh, I crit failed this time, I think, if that's a thing. 77.
That's Delta Green. That's Delta Green.
Okay.
Doubles is Delta Green. That's not a crit fail. Crit fail would be
thank
like
goodness.
95
I
to
failed
100, I think, for you. or
less.
90, 100. You did. You failed less. You still fail. As you are jury rigging or sort of messing around with this as best you can, you see a man come up the stairs, Pastor Wood, and he kind of looks down. He's quite tall. He's 6'5", 6'6", big giant guy with a very unfortunate comb over, very tan and not the greatest chef. And he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing over there? And he's kind of starts just trumping up. What do you think you all do? Get the hell away from there! I should throw you off this balcony right now, trying to break into there like that. What's wrong with you? This is a private business."
Oh, back in now. I was just appraising your damage here. Seems like you need a new handle.
Appraising my damage here. Well, first of all, it's not my damage. Second of all, you shouldn't be messing around with other people's things. If Mr. Pisner wanted you to be messing around with his things, he should be here. You should be appraising damage without the owner. You know, what's your names?
Ah, Patrick
Right
Price.
now.
Nice to meet you.
Patrick Price. You, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to me?
Oh, I was talking to you. Yes, I was. And he kind of starts getting really close
What's
to you.
your name?
Me? My name? I'm Mo. And I don't much care for you trying to break into my cousin's place of business.
Oh, you've gotten the wrong impression, Mo. We're here to meet him.
Oh, really? Do you have an appointment?
Couldn't really make one. We just had an address.
Just had an address. Well, here's the thing. You can go ahead and leave a message with me, or you could have called a phone number that is associated, and he points to the door itself, and there very much is a phone number written right on the door. And you could have gotten an appointment that way. I think you alls was trying to break in. That's what I think yous was doing. That's what I think yous was doing indeed. Yeah. But you don't look like the Acones. You're too pasty. You're too pasty. And you smell, oh God, you smell terrible. What's wrong with you, old man?
Well, Mo, I apologize for disturbing you and getting you riled up. Mr. Price and I will leave.
Yeah, you better leave. You better leave right now, because by the time I get inside, I'm going to call the LAPD, and they're going to come down here looking for two pasty guys, one who smells like a dumpster, and then they're going to haul you off into jail for trying to break in. You understand me?
By all means, that is your legal right.
And he goes to the open door, and he looks back, and he's like kind of waiting. Off with you!
We'll be back.
And he opens the door, and he steps inside. Door closes behind him.
I knock on the
Okay.
door.
The door opens. I told you to leave.
Well, I was hoping to make an appointment now that someone is in.
Do I look like a secretary?
Sort of.
Wait, he went in the door. We just tried picking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he went. There's another door. Okay.
No. He's gonna throw a punch at Pastor for sort of. All right. Where's my dice? Where are my dice? I actually have my dice out today, so I can roll. Of course. So you can roll a test.
I can dodge.
Yeah. You can dodge, or you can fight back. It's your choice.
I dodged and I failed. 91.
Okay.
How am I
Okay.
getting the Viper, but I'm not? Mo Pisner.
Because it definitely didn't matter. You only roll well when it doesn't matter. All right, let me get the damage on this. All right, so he's just gonna punch you straight up. So this is going to be. He's gonna punch you in the face for 3 points damage.
Jeff, you're killing me.
So I did 3 to you last night and basically killed you. So might as well do it again. So he punches you in the face.
Oh.
Get out of here. You, get your old father friend here. Get your pops. Get him off the frickin' balcony. It's your last warning. Because if you don't take him off the balcony your way, I'm going to throw him off the balcony my way. You got me?
We're civil people here. We'll take the stairs.
Then
That is
go.
no way to treat a customer. And I'll turn and walk away.
Okay. All right. So then as you guys walk away, we will cut over for the time being. Think about how you want to handle that now. We'll cut over now to UCLA, where we've got arriving Marie, Shima, Beverly. You found a place to park, wherever that might be. Get out. And it's a beautiful campus. He was not wrong. What he told you last night is an absolutely gorgeous campus. All manner of palm trees and open sky. The buildings kind of have like a sort of a Grecian Roman kind of vibe to them, right? It's kind of had that sort of feel. So it looks so much different than some of the other places that you've seen. And it's so bright and green and lush in ways that your campus of Miskatonic is not. Where do you all head?
Actually, before that, the entire way here, Shima has been talking about Ed Exley, and how he's 4-time middleweight champion, and he trained with the Olympians for a few years, and so he's more than just an entertainer. He's an athlete, and he showed me these, and as she talks about the wrestling, like it actually becomes a little more academic and technical, and it becomes clear that her knowledge extends beyond just like grappling someone. And she just very excitedly talking about all of this stuff, but very specifically and very pointedly about how Ed Exley is the bee's knees.
Well, my Miss Oberon, I had to be fair, I had never considered that there was a technical side to wrestling. I really have heard about the exhibition, so to speak, and it seemed all almost like a play without the music and fine clothes. But it's been quite the education to hear about the athletic and technical side.
She turns a little red at that. Yes. Well, anyway, I'm glad we're at this campus. This is a beautiful campus.
I wonder if he mentioned stunt work. I wonder if he was doing any in 24.
Well, that's a really great question to ask him.
That's very interesting. Did he mention the name of a secretary that we were to speak with?
Can we visibly see like what building might reasonably have like registrar or administration, like that kind, like information?
Yeah, our visitor day pass.
You wouldn't have difficulty navigating a college campus. It should be pretty easy for you guys.
Okay. So I think the intention is to find out where his office is. So whatever the most direct way is to do that.
So you're trying
So
to find
that's good.
Ed's offices? You're going to go to Ed? Okay. I think,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah, that's
so,
not hard.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's easy enough to do. So athletics, so it's like an athletics area building, and there's, when we head over in that direction, it still looks like a proper academic building, but outside of that building, there's all manner of sort of athletic fields and practice areas and that sort of thing. But once you mention your names, you're very easily and swiftly sort of maneuvered in the direction of Ed. And when you see him this time, he is not in the suit that he was in yesterday when you saw him at the hotel. He is now in, it's a little bit different. It's almost like an athletic sweater in a way, like buttoned down. He's got a tie. It looks much more fluid and loose. And you can see if he steps outside, it kind of moves around in the breeze a bit. So it's definitely, he's at work, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, ladies, it's a pleasure to see you all of you came. That's wonderful. I see Mr. Wood and Mr. Price haven't came. That's a pity. So what can I do for you fine ladies this afternoon or morning? Oh my gosh, where has the day gone?"
Yes, you mentioned Professor McDunn, perhaps, and we just
of course.
don't know our way around campus clearly. It's gorgeous as advertised. It's been a lovely walk that we've had so far.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to escort all of you on over there. One moment, please. John, if you don't mind, please, I'm going to step away for a little while. I have some business to attend to. And you see one of the other coaches kind of dressed the same way, got like sort of UCLA logos and lettering on it, and he kind of waves. And he starts moving off with the three women that have come to see him. You hear various snickering and such around there and there. And maybe
Charmaine is looking around, like taking in, like wow, there's so much more funding here.
Oh well, that is we do. We have some very generous donations, of course we do, and the state of California is quite proud of UCLA, and as is the city. I definitely am quite happy to be here. The weather is so much nicer. The people are so much kinder. And, I see no reason to leave now, do I? Now, this way. And so he sort of navigates the actual campus a bit. He sort of gives you a brief tour, shows you some buildings along the way, gives you a handful of stories this way and that. But eventually, you guys, you're all led to he's bringing you to what's called Dodd Hall. Which is where the history department is housed, and he goes inside, holds the door open for everyone, and kind of starts working your way back up. And you can see there's a handful of people waiting to talk throughout all these different offices and things, but he's just sort of bypassing everything, just kind of giving a wave here and there. And eventually, he brings you to the second floor where you see that there is sort of a secretary's desk, and you see a woman sitting behind it, and he kind of gives her a very wonderful smile, and she's like, Miss Burners, it is an absolute pleasure to see you. You look delightful today. Let me introduce you to my new friends here. This is Miss Wynn. This is Dr. Beverly Key, and this is an old friend of mine, Miss Shima Oberon. And I was wondering if it would be possible, could the three of them, my dear friends, have a moment with Professor McDunn? Is that possible? And she looks up, and she looks across at the three of you, and you can tell that she is really strongly trying to consider what the hell is happening. Like, she's just looking one to the next to the next.
Shema has a giant guileless smile on.
And she's like, well, look at what you brought in. How interesting. 3 fine young women. Oh, well, I suppose I could make a request to Mr. McDunn. One moment, please. And a pleasure to meet the three of you. And she gets up and goes back in, and he kind of looks at you, the three of you, with kind of a sheepish grin. And a few minutes later, she comes back out of the office that looks to be dedicated to Professor McDunn, and says, "Well, he'll be more than happy to see you now." And at that point, you're let in, and you can see it's a pretty kind of classic office. It's bookshelves galore. You can see kind of sort of a stuffy feel to it, despite the fact that there is just a beautiful window just letting in this all mess of like light coming in. And sitting behind the desk, but then getting up at the sight of Exley, kind of getting up and sort of this big laughter. You see a man who you would probably peg in his 60s, maybe. He's got a great big bushy beard, and that's what he says as you walk in. He's just like, "Oh, Ed, it's good to see you." And let me show you. I got a picture for those of you that are. And so he's got this big old bushy beard, windswept hair. He's got spectacles on. He's got an extremely colorful vest, and then he's wearing extremely colorful clothing, blue jacket. He's like, "Oh, it's a pleasure to see you." And then he introduced himself, "Professor Hamish McDunn. Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. Indeed, any friend of Ed's is entirely suspect in my book."
Marie kind of
just teasing.
stands behind Dr. Key, and she has definitely taken a step back behind Dr. Key as the professor.
Yeah, which Beverly does do introductions of the group. Pleasure to meet you.
Sherman thinks he's joking, but is too nervous to laugh.
So Ed's like, "Well, I'm afraid, ladies, I have duties to attend to. But Hamish, if you would be so kind, these are dear friends of mine. They have some questions to ask you about a former professor of yours, I believe. And if you could do whatever you can to help them, I would be most grateful. And I will make sure to let those at the club know about the graciousness of your hosting abilities here." And he's just like, they kind of do a little back and forth joke and tease one another a bit. And eventually he turns to you all. "Well, good luck to you all. I hope to be seeing you again while you are in Los Angeles. We should get some dinners, get on town, enjoy ourselves, and I'll show you a bit of town if that's all right with y'all."
Would be delightful.
Can I bend your ear for just one moment? Can we step outside for just one moment?
I suppose we could indeed. Mr. Professor McDunn's time is precious, though. He is a very busy man.
Dr. Key and Miss Wynn are much more suited to. And she kind of trails off.
Of course. And so he steps out with you, and Beverly and Marie, you stay inside. And so we'll say McDunn motions to these sort of leather seats in front. He's like, "Go ahead, sit right down. What can I do?" I can't do his voice. I'm not going to do it. I'm going pirate. I'm like, "Arr, sit on down in the leather chairs. Welcome." Yeah. It's in my head. There's certain voices I just can't do anymore, and that's one of them.
That's fair.
I'm literally, I was there for just 10 seconds and then come back in.
Okay.
So I'm, Sharma's going to very sheepishly and quietly ask, he's like, I would really like to maybe buy a keychain from the bookstore. Do you think maybe I could mention your name and get a teacher discount if I...
Well, I'm not quite sure that the bookstore would recognize my name enough to offer a discount, but if you want to drop it, you are more than welcome to. If that could somehow ease financial burdens, of course, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you.
All right then.
Head back in.
And he's like that all. I guess that is all. Well,
that is all. Thank you.
You should have been like, "Can I also join practice today?"
So he departs. Shima, you come in. They're really just kind of sitting down. You were barely gone, and Professor McDunn, and he's like, "So, ladies, what can I do for you?"
Well, we had some questions. Did you have a George Aris in your department?
Aris, and he, well, I did have a George Ayres, Professor Ayres, yes. Yes, indeed. Yes,
That's the name, yes.
He's not here any longer. That he hasn't been around in quite some time.
Did he leave like a forwarding address of where he would be now?
Oh, not quite. Years ago, I gave him a leave to go on a research trip to Africa, and he's never returned, to be honest. But as for where he could be now, as far as I understand, he might still have his personal address. I'm sure if it's that important, Miss Burnish can provide it to you. But he's never made contact. It's been, now that you mention it, quite some time since I've heard from him. For a while after he went on his trip, he would send reports, updates here and there for the university. He did get approval for travel, which is not the easiest thing to do, to get the funding and such. But it's been, that's a name I've not heard in a long time. It's been quite a few years, in fact.
And then could you detail what he was researching in Africa?
That's very, might I ask, the purpose of these questions is, are you related to George?
We're not related to George, but we're related to someone, we're working for Miss
Janet Winston Rogers.
Winston Rogers.
Yeah, Winston Rogers, and she's an acquaintance of his.
That name sounds familiar, I've got to say. Can't quite place it. I can tell you that he was in, obviously he's in the history department, but he headed out to Africa for, he found a new site that he wanted to dig into itself. He himself was, I can't say specifically what his research was off the top of my head. It's possible we could have some of his, some of his items around here. We cleared his office out some years ago, but I think we kept some of it in storage. I could have Miss Burnish see if she can dig some of it up, if that's of interest to you.
Would be lovely.
I see. But in terms of specifically what he was looking into, it's I know it. Ancient religions was obviously his specialty, and he found something that he thought was prudent and interesting, and wanted to. They wanted to pursue it and publish, and perhaps give the university some glory, I suppose. But it's been so long. Yes, I'm afraid I can't remember the details. And he just, without any sort of apology, he's just like, "Burnish!" He just screams really, really loud. And a few minutes later, the door opens up, and she's just like, "I've asked you very kindly not to yell." How else am I going to get your attention? Well, you can get up and open the door and ask politely, like most people. See if you can dig up any of old George Ayres' belongings. I know we cleared out his office a few years ago. See if there's anything around for these young ladies. The three of you can, any one of you, if you like, roll a psychology test.
One thing we're all pretty good at.
It's very,
I say as I
actually, you
fail.
guys are very good at it. Well, there's still luck.
Still
As we
fails.
fail.
There's still, don't forget, there's still, what's it called? There's still luck you can spend if anyone needed it.
Oh, that's true. Shine
My
my
trick
on
on
it.
Best
got
of
a
best successes.
14.
Shaima, well,
14 under 80.
with a hard success like that, I'll give you two things, actually.
Amazing.
You've been listening, as Marie and Beverly have been doing most of the talking here. You definitely get the sense, despite his amicable nature, that Professor McDunn sort of winced a little bit at the name George Ayres and certainly seemed to like the pause in how he replied and how he's talking about, oh, it's been some time. You get the sense that some of that was a little performative. Like he didn't, like you're getting the sense that there's something about that he's kind of a little cagey with. And then secondly, as you turn and you look at Burnish, she does something fairly similar, in fact. Whereas the name George Ayres, she kind of winces and makes a face, and it quickly goes away. You just get the sense that the two of them are, it's not as like, oh, hey, George Ayres, oh, that guy, sure. Like there's more to it, right? And it's maybe just like a polite society thing, or maybe it's more, but it definitely catches your attention as you're quietly listening while while Marie and Beverly do the talking.
Yeah. So as the exchange happens, then Samuel will like, oh, Miss Burnish, if I can help you look, if it would be helpful.
That's very kind.
I'm good at moving boxes, and she kind of like flexes like.
And you can tell that she's like, that's very kind, and she looks in the direction of like Professor McDunn at that point, and there's this moment of nonverbal communication between them where they're just sort of staring at one another, and eventually it's like, give them whatever they need, it's perfectly fine. Yes, I would love your help then, if you don't mind.
Sam bounds out the door.
Okay.
Like a dog that's been given a treat.
And so we'll say the two of you head off, and much like was described, you go to like a storage room, you start going through these old belongings, these boxes and things like that, which will take a few minutes. Beverly and Marie, think about whatever else you would want to ask them. I would say that Shima succeeded at that role. Neither of you did, so just keep that in mind. As far as you're concerned, he's been an affable, sort of absent-minded history professor. Yeah. He's a pirate. But let's cut back and check on the guys. As last we saw, they were caught trying to break into the offices of Jack Pisner, and then just the worst of timing, Pisner's cousin showed up and punched Pastor Wood in the face. What do you guys want to do?
All right, so I think the plan is that Patrick is going to find a phone and call the number, and I am going to get in the car and park it in a place that's discreet but has a view of the door, and we're going to do a stakeout.
Okay. Sure. So
I can find a nearby payphone of sorts.
Okay, so you're going to find a place to make a phone call. That's fine. And you're going to try to call the number. And then, Pastor Wood, you're trying to hide the...
I want to just pull the car, park it somewhere that has a view of the door, but, a bit further away, so we can just hang out in the car and watch.
No problem. Okay. So, what's the point of the phone call?
Schedule an appointment, right? I can get...
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was like a combo thing, like you guys were doing anything. So the phone rings, and you hear, Business Private Investigation Services. No jobs too big, too small, or too dirty. Mo speaking, what can I do for you?
Hey, Mo. This is Peter.
Well, hello there, Mr. Peter. What seems to be the problem? Is your wife running around on you, or is it something more?
No, I'd like to speak to Jack Pisner. Can set up an appointment.
I'm sorry. Jack is currently on assignment. Very important assignment right now. We're very important people, and he's currently on a very important assignment, doing very important things. But I, however, am his second in command, and I could attend to whatever you need. So if you've got a dirty, cheating wife that you would like me to catch red-handed, I am more than happy and capable of doing so.
Understandable, Mo, but this is an investigation he's been after. This information I have for him.
Oh, I see. You have information on Jack's. Well, that's curious. Well, I will be more happy to take a message and deliver it to him when such situations are available that I can deliver that message. You can start talking now. I am ready to take your message.
Don't have much of a message. Can we speak to him in private or meet face to face?
Oh, I know that he's very, he has a very high priority case right now, I'm afraid to say. Very important business, very important. I'm not sure I could, and he's like, between me's and you's, he is currently, he's following certain suspects, certain persons of interest, and he cannot be reached currently. So when he returns from that work, I would be more than happy to deliver whatever information. You can start talking whenever you want. I am ready with pen in hand to take your message.
Right, so then if you could just write down ttrpg and send it along.
Ttrpg. What is that?
Jack should know.
I see. Okay. Well, I will write that down, Mr. Peter. And does he know how to reach you?
He could call back at a Venice hotel. Where were you at?
Yeah, sure. You can give him a hotel number. That's fine. I see. Oh, that's a wonderful hotel. It's a wonderful place. You got a very fine view of the water.
I can't see it from my room.
I see. Well, I will be more than happy to deliver that message. Is there anything else I can do for you today, Mr. Peter?
You've been very helpful, Mo.
No. Well, thank you. Please make sure to mention that when you speak with Jack, so he knows the value of my employment.
Enjoy yourself.
You too.
Click.
Okay. He's like, all right. Patrick, I would like you to make a spot hidden test as you return to the car where Pastor Wood is, where he has positioned it in such a way that he can see the offices themselves. Go and make a spot hidden test.
I've got a 45 in that. I rolled a 57. I failed.
Do you want to spend luck or do you want to push or anything?
I don't have much luck, so I'll push.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Last time you pushed, I got punched in the face.
We'll see what
Not
happens.
gonna notice. Oh no.
68. It's another fail.
Okay. So you are walking back towards the car. You're a block or two away. Pastor Wood, you are perfectly situated. You're looking up at the actual second level. You can see very clearly, comes and goes. You can even have a view of the staircase going up. Patrick, you're about 2 blocks away in the back when you feel something heavy in this immediate pain in the back of your head, and then everything goes black. We're going to cut back over to UCLA, and we're going to go over to Marie and Beverly, and I'm going to ask you what questions did you come up with for Professor McDunn?
So, as I also specialize in anthropology, and I presume that's what George did as well. Can you just expand on maybe what he was like to work with, since I've never met him personally?
Okay, go ahead and give me a roll, Beverly. And this is more of a, like, what's the attitude or what's the tone you're taking? Is this like charm? Is this just sort of logical persuasion? Are you speaking like professionally? Like, so that's more like persuade. I think
it's like just professional.
Then just give me a straight up persuade test. This is really just kind of the color, how he might respond.
Oh
really.
God, my persuade's trash.
Yeah.
Can take
Don't
a
worry.
boost or two
I'm not
to get
treating
you a
these
little higher.
roles. I'm not treating these roles, by the way, as gating information necessarily. It's just sort of determining the disposition that he comes at you with is basically what's going on.
Thank God I took it. I passed.
Okay.
9
Fair
under
enough.
10. Wow.
That's still only a regular success,
Yeah,
too. 'Cause
but-
even just she rolled single digits.
I'll take
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So I guess I should just. I don't mean to speak ill of past colleagues or of folk, but he was a fairly difficult man. I'll be honest with you, and there's more than a few of us around here who are quite happy that he's no longer. That he's still on leave.
And at that, the way he says it, you get the sense that he doesn't really think that George is still on leave. Like, you get the feeling that he's like being diplomatic.
If you're asking me if I would give a glowing professional recommendation if he were to apply to whatever university that would take him, I can inform you that I would not.
I
but
see.
At the same time, I would prefer to not have contact with him at all. He just was an odd man.
Have had another acquaintance describe him as unsettling.
That is a fair word, yes, that's a fair word for it. He was a very curious man, if memory serves. He had interesting friends, surprisingly so. And he, when I say interesting, it's, they're not the kind of friends that we would want too frequently in the halls of Dodd. We definitely would prefer that they stay, frankly, off the campus entirely. They're not of the academic variety. They're not eruditions. So, that's all I'll say on that matter. I don't want to speak ill of, the dead, maybe. It's been... madam, it's 1936, and it was he's been gone, departed for 12 years, really. We've kept him on the rolls, but that's technical accounting. So, I'd rather not get into it too much. You're friends of Mr. Exley, so I'm trying to be polite here. We're under the
12?
impression... Yes, 12 years he's been gone.
That would put it at 9, and she's feigning like she's doing the math. That would put that at 1924.
I think that's about right, yes. He did send updated correspondence for some time about this or that, but that even faded away. Most of us here are fairly certain he's dead or he's gone native, and to be honest, it's more or less the same thing. So we've moved on. We've given his office over to a new, young, very promising candidate, and many of his classes are being taken by graduate students who are far more motivated to education than, Professor Ayres ever was. Professor Ayres was far more interested in the research than he was in helping his students.
That's a shame.
Yes.
What about yourself? What is your focus?
Oh, I'm just a history professor. I focus on European history in particular. Yes. But my administration duties are taking up a significant amount of my work hours, so I don't teach as many classes as I used to.
That's fair.
Of course.
Let's cut over then to Shima and Miss Burnish, who are in a storage room. It's fairly dusty, lots of old books, lots of old things that are just left around. Looks like there's decorations, various decorations for like parties and things like that are here. And she's been kind of keeping to herself, being very quiet, polite, but she's not a social butterfly. She doesn't seem to want to talk too much. But eventually, she does kind of look at you. She raises an eyebrow, and she's, so how do you know Ed?
Oh, we I've seen him in his wrestling days, and we just bumped into each other yesterday because I was looking for a gym and he was at the gym, and then he got me into the gym, and then he worked out with me. But I know him from before, from when he was a middleweight, and that's how I know him.
Oh, so you're a fan. I see.
Yes, he's so nice. She's nice.
Oh, he's very nice. Yes, Ed is very nice. And then she pulls down a box. I think this is it.
Oh, here, let me help.
She's about to hand it over to you, but then she kind of pulls it towards herself. And the other woman with you? How do they know?
Through me. Here, let me help.
It's just like still kind of pulling it away just a little bit. So they're also fans.
They don't watch wrestling so much, so probably not.
I see.
They're just nice to me.
And so she pulls down the box. You grab it from her.
Have you worked with Coach Long? And this is very godless. Like there's no deception or anything.
We don't have much crossover between his department and history department, but we're acquainted. Friends, you might say.
So not a fan.
I was not aware of his professional exploits prior to meeting him when he became a coach here at UCLA.
Oh, he's incredible. He is one of the best wrestlers I have ever seen on the Eastern Seaboard. You should ask him to show you some of his patented moves. They are incredible. He showed me a few of them yesterday, and I don't think I can do them, but I think if I practiced, I probably could.
Oh, I'm sure he has all sorts of moves. Shall we take this to my office?
Sarah doesn't fully understand what's going on, but is not stupid enough to realize there isn't subtext. But she's not sure what that is.
So you just keep getting like little snippets like that here and there, but she's not like, she never goes too far with it. She never gets really angry. I would say I'll rolling over your psychology as you've already kind of given her a read. You don't get the sense that she dislikes Ed or anything like that. You do just get the sense that she is a little suspicious is all. Like she's just
Am I getting the sense that she's like a little possessive about him? Like when it comes to okay.
It's more of like a she is surprised. This has caught her off guard in a way where she's just trying to like just get the feel of the land here and like what's
this like a they dated before scorned lover thing, or she's interested and she's gauging out the competition?
It's really hard to roll. Like I don't know how that is depicted physically, but you get the sense that they have history. Let's just put it at that. Okay, so Shaima, if you bring the
tray, you're writing their ships right now.
I know, right?
The fanfic is coming, right?
I'm going for Ed at this point.
Okay, that's fine. So as you start going through the boxes, most of it is just nothing, just nonsense tchotchkes and things like that a person would keep in their office. And none of the books are at all interesting. They're all pretty standard reference books that at this point are kind of out of date. There's nothing in here that's juicy that comes out to you.
So as I'm looking at the books, Jeff, I would like to kind of muse out loud and maybe ask, what was he working on? These are so mundane. If he's in Africa now, like I can't imagine that funding was cheap. You must have been working on something interesting, but
she kind of
doesn't
winces.
look like it from these books.
She winces a little bit and she says, I certainly don't know.
And it seems like you would. You feels like you know a lot about these professors.
You can see that she just she slams the sides of the box, but in like a muted way, like a Miss Oberon. Professor Ayres was not my favorite person, and I did not want to really know him, so I did not. I will be more than happy to provide you whatever materials. We have his travel itinerary, we have a few of his other things. But in terms of what he was researching, other than he was traveling to Africa to dig into some ancient religion, I suppose I am not the one who would be able to inform you on those matters. Suffice to say, I am very glad that he left and that he never returned. Now,
I am sorry, Miss, and she is genuinely is sorry. I did not realize. I thought.
Miss Oberon, I am trying to help you and give you the items that you wanted. So I am going to do that because that is what Professor McDunn has asked me to do. And here they are. And so she hands over a few things. Okay, so I got a couple things to share with you. First of all, there's one thing that catches your attention, Shaima, in sort of a curious way, because the name has popped up before. But you see, as one of those tchotchkes, as she's just setting them off to the side, almost like these probably aren't of interest to you. There's just this decoration, that decoration, a small little painting that he might have hung on the wall, etc. You notice a framed photograph, like an early photograph of a beautiful starlet. And when you look at it, you can see it says, George, thanks for all your help. And then it's signed Olivia Clarendon. The name rings a slight bell, I would say, to Shaima, as you've heard that name a few times. So that's one thing. Then she hands over to you travel itinerary.
Sorry, Jeff, just to make sure I am remembering correctly, just looking at my notes, this was the name that popped up with that person in the Savannah Asylum?
Yes, there's a woman who was acting and pretending to be Olivia Clarendon.
Okay. That's something I have. Thank you.
Okay. And then there is one other place that it popped up, but I'm not going to tell you that. That's something that I'm going to say somebody else, if they remember it, can do it. When the time comes, we'll say let's do it. Okay. Save it for character. Okay. All right. So the other thing that she hands over to you is an itinerary. And so I'll share that with you now, which just seems to sort of track where he was going and how he got there. Let's see. So if you want to go over into the handouts folder, you should be able to see Ayres' itinerary if you scroll down. I can't share it directly with you. It's kind of a pain in the ass because it's a PDF.
Oh, it's all right. I can scroll.
So it really just tracks his itinerary from Los Angeles International Airport through. So it looks like there's rail, there's Zeppelin, aircraft, small boat, etc., and eventually traveling, as has been said, to East Africa. There's even a small little print up of kind of a map of the area just off the Red Sea. So specifically, Massawa. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that is where the ultimate destination was on the itinerary.
Oh.
Now, there is also I'm trying to see if this is here. So you do see that there are some notes apparently on his research as well. As you do see, there's some high level sort of summary of the things that he's doing and what he's if you would like, give me a quick library use roll, Shaima.
Awesome. Sorry, give me just one moment because I had the handouts
Yeah, no
open. I
problem.
was just reading that. It's just giving one moment to get back to my sheet.
All good.
Library use, she said?
Library use, yeah. So it's basically like a handful of pages of his. It's not the full extent of his research, but it's basically some of it. And so you've been asking about the research. They're not telling you, but he does have some handfuls of things around here.
That's an 8 under 44.
You're rolling
Okay.
so well.
I have to make up for the abysmal library use the other day.
So you're just pouring. You're just skimming it. There's a significant amount of pages. It'll probably take you a little bit more time, but effectively, what you're sort of seeing is his research appears to be about something or someone called Golgoroth, and the earliest of the notes that you see in the stack seem to indicate that it's not just about Golgoroth, but then there's like a second name, the Liar from Beyond, and they seem to have a. He seems to think the research seems to suggest that they're the same entity, right? So like it seems like the earliest notes suggest something about them being one and the same, but then that sort of understanding seems to evolve in a particular way. You get the sense, again, just from skimming it, that there's a connection between the two of them. They might be the same, or there's some sort of duality there, or one is like the harbinger for the other. It's kind of hard to say, but those names like Golgoroth and stuff, these all pop out at your head, right out to you from your time speaking with the folks in Troy Grove and a few other places at this point.
I'm trying not to let the recognition show on my face and not doing a good job of it. I think visibly interested in
Okay.
collecting all of these things to take back to everybody else.
Okay. So let's go ahead then, and let's go back to Pastor Wood for a moment. Pastor Wood, you've been sitting here, you've been watching. No one's come or gone from the office. Mo's never come back out. But after a little while, maybe even an hour, you realize Patrick's actually not come back. What do you do with that, Patrick? Or Pastor, excuse me.
Patrick, would I have known where you were going to make the call?
Yeah, I would have pointed to a nearby payphone.
I suppose I would go to retrace his steps and see if there's a cafe nearby or a barber shop that he stopped in.
Okay. So if I recall, like you can do like there weren't as scattered maybe, but I think the payphones did exist in the 1930s. So you will find one a couple blocks away was probably the nearest one. That's kind of what I said before. And so we'll say you backtrack a couple blocks away. The payphone is sort of right there, kind of outside, built into the wall of one of these shops, and there's somebody using it, but it's not Patrick.
No sign of Patrick from here to there.
Yeah, you did say there's plenty of people on the road, back and forth, or excuse me, on the sidewalk, back and forth. Busy day, beautiful day. There is one moment where, as you're lingering at the payphone, you do notice this car roll past you on the street, and you realize as it gets close, it's a cop car, and there's a cop. His face is looking right at you, and for no apparent reason, it's just kind of giving you this stink eye, and the car just rolls past and keeps going.
I give him a nod as he goes, just like politely, wondering what that's about.
No recognition.
I head back
What
to the
next?
car and I wait a little bit longer, I think.
Okay. We'll say, when we say a little bit longer, give me a general idea of like how long you would wait. Like,
Yeah, I'm definitely
half
on
an hour,
edge because
hour?
we've been ambushed before. We know that there are people like interested about us with the information, the farmers and all that. You know, it's been a day, so he's absolutely had time to talk to Jack about us. I would say another half hour to an hour. And I would be watching more than just The Office this time. I just want to watch the whole street.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. So we will then cut over to Patrick. As last we saw Patrick, you felt something on the back of your head. A bit of pain. You can take 1 point of damage for that. When you come back, you feel a terrible headache in the back of your head.
My head.
Eyes open, and you realize you're bound, and you are tied to a chair. You are in the middle of, well, you don't know where the hell you are, but you look around, and it's kind of a crummy looking room or basement, something like that. Looks like, boiler room kind of deal. No windows. It's very loud from the actual machinery down here.
My immediate response would be to try to free my hands, just to wiggle.
Okay. And you hear a cackling voice behind you, like,
wakey, big guy. Oh, look at you.
And coming around from behind, where you couldn't really see him, you see a man with a kind of a light gray suit and a kind of a light colored fedora that he takes off at this point. He sets it on the ground or on the like a nearby like desk or countertop, and he just starts like dabbing his forehead a bit.
Well, look at this. This is, you're not going to believe the coincidence.
Who are you? Where am I?
Now, I don't think you understand how this is working. I'm the one who's going to be asking you questions, not the other way around. You understand?
It's illegal.
Legal schmeagle. Who really cares? All I know is I'm the one.
And he pulls back his jacket, and you can see he's got a gun.
And it's like, I'm the one with this.
And then he pulls back the other part of his jacket, and you can see there's like a little blackjack hanging down from his belt.
And I'm the one with this too. And you.
And he pulls out of his pocket.
You had this tiny little thing.
And he's got your razor blade.
So very interesting. So I didn't think it would be you. I was kind of angling for the doctor. She seems like she'd fold in a stiff wind, but I'll take what I can get. You teed it up for me. So what do you want me to do? So my name, which I imagine you might already know, as you are at my place of business, is Jack. You could just call me Mr. Pisner. Okay, how's that? And don't worry, I know who you are, Mr. Price. Or do you mind if I call you Patrick?
You can call me Patrick. Jack.
Good, it's good. I said you're gonna call me Mr. Pisner.
And he pulls the blackjack out and he slams it against the countertop. And you can see it rattles really bit.
Mr. Pisner.
Right, Mr. Pisner. As he's talking, I'll try to loosen my binds without him noticing.
Sure. It's going to be contested. So if you would like, you don't really have anything. This is going to be with a penalty die.
Yeah.
But you can roll like a dex test with a penalty die against him. And this is going to be instantaneous. So he's going to get some talking first.
Penalties like
an extra die, but you take the worst. So you're rolling two D10. Yeah. So like the first number. So if you were like a 20, you're rolling your second number.
in the system would just be -1 bonus dice.
Yeah. So like it'll if you prompt it up, you can go ahead and pick it. Oh, buddy.
99. That's a nice
99. 99. Okay. So it doesn't happen immediately as you're trying to do this. He's got you very firmly sort of tied in a bit. And he kind of gets his breath for a second, and then he dabs his face a little bit more, and then he looks at you, and he says,
Okay, let's just cut to the chase, all right? Does that sound all right to you? Why are you wiggling so much? Stop wiggling. I tied him really tight. You're not getting out. And I got your little toy here. Your little tiny toy.
We could be more cordial about this.
No, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to do that at all. I kind of like the various positions we're in right now. See, I'm up here because I'm better than you, and you're down there because you're worse than me, and you're going to listen to what I have to say. You understand? Does that sound good?
I don't have much of a choice.
Yeah. See, now you're getting it. Now you're getting it, Patrick. There you go. You see, I know a lot about you, and you don't know shit about me. I know that you all came out, a group of you, about 5, maybe 6 if you count that pilot over at the Palm Lodge. Yeah, we know about him. So I know that there's a group of you that came out here, and you're asking all sorts of questions, and you're poking around, and before that you were poking around somewhere else that you didn't. Now, I'm just kind of curious there, Mr. Patrick, since I already know those things. And the only thing that's keeping you from getting shoved in that boiler and, melted alive is telling me something I don't know. So, it's time for you to do that. Oh, and I'm kind of curious who it is that sent you out here.
I can't give you the name.
Slams the blackjack again.
Listen, I can be here all day. I have no other appointments. You're my only appointment.
What do you want to do about it?
Let me think of a name real quick.
You don't know?
No, I do.
Okay.
No, I do.
Fake name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give him a random fake name.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a fast talk.
I have a 5 in that.
Yeah.
I should be able to
Me
hit that
too.
with how I've been rolling.
Yeah, you're having a rough go of it long.
You can always take a bonus.
32. Can I pass that with luck?
I don't think so. You had 20 luck before.
I don't have
so
enough at all. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Do you smell that? Smells like bullshit. Oh, no, it's just you. No, give me a real name. Made up name. What kind of name is Michael Mouse? No. Tell me exactly who it is.
You're gonna have to give me something first.
I'm going to give you a broken foot. Then I'm going to give you a broken hand. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to give you a broken nose. Is that what you want?
Well, I'm no use to you dead.
That's true. But I didn't say I was going to kill you. I said I was going to break you. That's a different thing entirely.
We'll see if I talk.
I guess you're right. I guess we will.
And then he swings the blackjack across your face in such a way that it kind of catches you. It's not even so much your face as your head.
What is
It
actually
kinda catches
swinging? You're saying on black.
It's a blackjack. It's like a
What is that?
A leather
it's like-
club.
like a leather club. It's like what
Okay.
cops basically used to carry. And he whacks you in that sort of behind the ear. Take 1 point of damage.
Oh, he's tripping.
Did I loosen up some memories? Did I?
Where am I?
Well, you are in the great state of wherever the fuck I say you're at. And you're going to answer my questions, or I'm going to keep doing that. 5, 4.
What'd you ask me again?
I wanted to know who sent you and your stupid little friends. That's who it is. That's what I wanted to know.
What's it got to do with you?
And then he whacks you on the other side of the head behind the ear. Take another point of damage.
What's it got to
It was
do with
Walter
me?
Winston. He's dead.
It's
anyway.
very immediate. I would like to know that information. You have that information. That's what it's got to do with me. Oh, God. I really should have taken the doc. Yeah, I'll get her next, don't worry. Because that's the thing. I can kill you, and I could work on the other ones, because I got 4 other opportunities once you're dead. You just got the one, pal.
What do you do?
I'll just keep having him chipping me away. I ain't talking.
You ain't talking. Okay, well...
It's like Pastor Wood's going to show up at some point. Pastor Wood's going to start me off this at some point.
You don't like my blackjack, do you? I see you got yourself a little blade here. Little blade. I hear you're good with like shaving and hair and stuff like that. People think you're some sort of hair barber, something.
Oh, best in town.
I wonder how good you're gonna be with the scissors and things like that if I start cutting off fingers. What do you think? You think you're gonna be pretty good at it?
Never heard of a barber that can cut with his toes.
That's a good point. But let's find out.
And he cuts one of your fingers off. Go ahead and take a point of damage.
Only a point.
And we will cut over to UCLA, where we are in the offices with Hamish McDunn. By this time, I'll say you can hear the sounds of both Shima's voice and the voice of Miss Burnish as they're talking just outside. And he's like,
Oh, it sounds like they've got what you're needing. If you want to go assist your friend there, is there any other questions I can answer for you?
Yes, we were just wondering. You mentioned students, and some of the folks that he hung around with were not students, but specifically regarding a student, do you happen to remember an Edgar Job?
Edgar Job. He was an anthropology student, history, was he?
It seemed from our information that he and Ayers sort of ran in the same circles, perhaps.
I can't say the name strikes me as familiar, to be honest with you. But if he was a student back with when Professor Ayers was here, he did, memory serves, he did have a young fella who kind of followed him around a bit. Man, might be kind of squarely looking. Yeah, a little unhealthy. Maybe that's the fella you're talking about, but the name, unfortunately, we get so many students over the years, and I just couldn't quite place that one. So, is there anything else I can do for you?
All my questions are answered. Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're more than welcome. More than welcome.
and he gets up and he kind of starts escorting you out and opens the door, and there you see Shima and Miss Burnish going through these various boxes of things. And so the two of you can now kind of start taking a peek. So there's itinerary, which is it's literally just travel details. Mm-hmm. There's the autograph photo of Olivia Clarendon, and there's some like high level notes about some of his research that looks like he was sort of writing down a bit. And that's basically what you have. What are the three of you want to do?
Before they come out, I would have liked to have had just a very brief comment to her privately.
Okay.
Just right before they came out. Just so she hears. And Sharma is genuinely like sorry about this, and just Miss Burnish, I'm thank you for your help today. I didn't realize it would be so unpleasant. I have a few very unpleasant professors at Miss Q, and their assistants always know more about what's going on with the professors than the professors themselves. And so I'm sorry. Is there someone else that I should maybe talk to instead? Because I don't want to bother you anymore.
Talk to about what, dear? You've come here asking about a professor who hasn't worked here for 12 years. Both
Professor McDunn and I have answered the limited amount of information that we can provide, and now we're handing over his things. I feel like we have gone above and beyond for a random public individual.
That's true. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope this is somehow useful to you. And she smiles,
it
but you
very
can tell
much
it doesn't
is.
go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Walking up to this, Marie would have kind of looked over their shoulder and been like, "Oh my, does that photo say Olivia Clarendon?
Yes.
Wow, she was from that movie with Richard Spend. Oh, what was the name of that movie? The Black Cat? I think it was the Black Cat. Richard Spend and Olivia Clarendon co-starred in. And this was a photo that the professor had in his belongings?
Yes.
And this is when Beverly kind of steps in and like hefts the container back into Shima's arms and is like, "Thank you all so much for your time. Would it be okay if we spent some time in your library? Could you point us in that direction?"
Sorry, Ashley, you got to read my face sometimes. I'm looking something up.
Sorry.
That was definitely talking amongst yourselves kind of moment.
I think we can probably find our way there. When we were walking over, that there were some signs that pointed us to a few places. I think we could probably. It's such a lovely day outside. I wouldn't mind.
You could find the library. It's not an issue.
Yeah. So then Beverly will like remove us from the situation. Like, we're not going to talk in front of these people any longer.
Sure.
And kind of corral us into the library.
Thank you very much. Have a very pleasant day. Appreciate your time.
Goodbye, ladies.
As he kind of smiles and waves, and Miss Burnish is like, "Have a good day." Very professionally. Very professionally. Such a professional smile. Okay.
Miss Oberon, she did not seem like the friendliest of sorts, did she?
No, I got a strange sense about her and Coach. I don't know.
Is he spoken for?
I didn't get that sense.
Well, perhaps there might be some local interest here that someone coming in from out of town might just disrupt the apple cart.
She didn't like George Ayers, though. She seemed to. I mean, she was very helpful with getting everything, but Sham is going to relay as best as possible the general sort of demeanor and discussion that was had.
Mm.
And Dr. Key, you're probably right that we shouldn't speak in front of them, but I was just so the connection of the actor and now his co-star who was part of his obituary, and now
and she's not dead,
is she?
Office?
Olivia Clarendon? No, not at all. She just had a movie come out a couple months ago.
Okay.
Just a tangled web they wove.
Okay. Is there anything that the three of you want to do before we cut back to Pastor Wood?
I don't think so.
Okay. If that's the case, Pastor Wood, another half an hour has passed. Still no Patrick. What do you want to do?
Pastor Wood is stewing, has been this whole time. He got punched in the nose by a guy that he wanted to punch back, but he held back. Mm-hmm. And now Patrick is gone. Already tense because of being ambushed and all of that. So he wants to go take it out on Mo, I think. And he's going to go up to the office.
Okay. Do you knock on the door?
No, I'm just kicking.
Okay. Just out of curiosity to see how well this goes, roll like a strength test or something, or a brawl if you wanted. As you walk up to the door and try to kick it.
Brawl is 3 points higher than strength, so I'm going with that.
Sure. Sounds good.
27 under 53. So not quite hard. Is my math is right?
Do you want to spend
the
1
luck
point
to make
of
it
luck
hard.
to make it a
I
hard
don't know.
success?
I don't have much luck left. Yeah, I'll go down to
You're
98.
Such a freaking brat. I am gonna murder you with Mo. Mo's gonna throw you off the freaking balcony in a sec. You kick the door open, and it goes sprawling, and you're like, "What the fuck? Who the fuck do you think you are?" And you see the big guy comes storming around. "Oh, that's it, old man. That's it. You're going for a ride." And he's coming up with like he's like doing the classic like getting his forearms loaded.
I just raised my gun right at him.
Oh shit! Okay. We're all friends here. What seems to be the problem with you, there, old man? Just because I punched you, you want to punch me back? You can punch me back, no problem. No, right here. I've broken my nose like 4 times. What's a fifth?
Will you shut up? I'm looking for your brother Jack. I need a consultation with him. You're gonna make it happen now. Speak.
Okay, I don't have a brother Jack.
Your cousin, brother, whatever it is, Jack Pisner will be in this office shortly.
I don't know if he will. What I said before isn't untrue. He was on very special assignment. He was following some folks, and he was doing his thing. And that's that.
And where was he following them?
Well, you know, here, there, everywhere. That sort of thing, all around Los Angeles. Can you put the gun? Can you stop pointing the gun at me? Would that be possible?
Why don't you have a seat? And I point to one of the chairs. I assume there's a chair like in front of the desk. I don't want him sitting behind it.
Yeah. And he says, "No, okay. I don't have a way of contacting him. If anyone needs to contact him, they call here and they leave a message, and then he comes by later, and he's usually here before he goes home for the night. But that's going to be hours from now. It's not even lunchtime. He comes by maybe once or twice a day in the morning, and he's already been here once, and then at night, and now he's gone."
I close what's left of the door and drag another chair in front of it to prop it up. I'm not too worried about it because I want to keep the gun on Mo.
Okay. Okay. He is going to lunge at you as you try
Fair
to
enough.
close. Yeah, as you try to go close the door. What is your dex?
70.
Okay. You are obviously you're going to get to go first, as he's fairly big and lumbering, and you have the gun ready to go as well. And so he is, as you ever so slightly turn your head, even for the briefest of seconds, just to grab the doorknob to close it, he takes that opportunity to lunge himself at you. What do you do?
I'm shooting him.
Okay, roll your attack. In the middle of a...
What is the rule also about you can take multiple attacks?
Yeah, so with a gun, it depends on the gun and depends on how many bullets it has. So there's a number of... Where's your character sheet? What kind of weapon do you have?
I've got a
Tell you
44
how-
revolver, Smith & Wesson
Yeah.
triple lock.
So it'll basically tell you how many shots you have. Where are you? So it's the 44 revolver. So that one's got max uses per round is 3. So you have the
All right,
potential.
I'm taking 3 shots, and I have rapid fire talent so that I don't take the penalty die for them.
Okay, perfect.
First one's an 85, which my handgun is exactly 85.
Okay, that hits. Give me
24.
Well, give me the damage.
Oh, do I need to do
first.
damage first?
Well, let's just do it because he might die. So keep going.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
What's the damage?
100 is a critical fail, isn't it?
100 is a critical fail, yes. But
Well,
let's
that
do
was
the
my third
damage on the
attack.
first one.
11.
Okay, 11 points of damage on the first one. Okay. he is not dead. He continues to lumber forward. As you catch him, like a wound, like right, just missed his heart, but he continues to lunge at you. What's the second one?
9.
What's the damage on that one?
9. Sorry, it was a hit. It was a 24
Was a
total.
hit? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and he tries to lunge, and then the gun this time goes up to the head, and the head just goes, and he just does like a giant tree falling backward right down into the chair. And now he's just sitting there, hole in his head, hole in his shoulder, bleeding out as you just fired 3 shots in the middle of an office building. And that's where we're going to stop for tonight. And we will pick up on that moment.
Oh, shit.
No.
Okay. I love cliffhangers. They're just too much fun.
I'm sorry, Long. I tried.
Did you? You just killed the guy. You're like, I'm going to fire 3 times.
You
don't have to.
I'm a Texas Ranger. You shoot the whole
Okay.
barrel, the whole whatchamacallit, cylinder.
Okay. The whole barrel. Okay. All right. Interesting. What an interesting episode, as we had so much flirting and yearning. And then we end on Pastor Wood shooting a guy in the head and Patrick getting a finger cut off. And it'll
The
be
boys had
we'll start
a
with your
very
pinky.
different day than the girls.
Totally different day. Totally different day. Yeah.
It's a lovely
Oh,
day
God.
at UCLA, walking around the campus, being escorted by an apparently popular gentleman.
I feel so rejuvenated after being on campus again, back in my, zen.
Go back to the
Right.
hotel. Can't find your male friends. One of them's in jail for murder. The other one you never see again for the rest of your life. And his fiance is extraordinarily upset. A Tuesday. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Let's end on that. That was a lot of fun. And we'll pick up.
Oh,
But
that's so
those are good
great.
shots. Those are good shots. You actually, no matter whether you had the gun or not, you did have him on decks anyway. As he's a big Lundgren guy. But you just killed Mo. What the hell's wrong with you, man? It's just,
He punched me in the face. I don't feel
That's
bad about
true.
it at all.
that is fair. That is fair. Okay.
Like
My goodness.
proportional response.
All we found was his finger. Yep, absolutely. Okay,
Aw.
so let's do some closing plugs, and then we'll get on out of here, and we'll be back next week to see the conclusion of this incident, and we'll see what happens. I like to think that the next time you come, it's still just going to be the same thing. Like you guys are on library, you're looking through books.
Blissfully
It's just
unaware.
Go
Oh,
have
yeah,
brunch
yeah.
somewhere. Just go have brunch. We see like a little scene of them like eating quiche and drinking mimosas and such along the water. And then we come over and Patrick Price is down 2 fingers and he's bleeding out. And Pastor Wood is cutting a man into pieces and throwing it into some sort of broiler room and trying to dodge cops. Fantastic. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's do our closing plugs and we get on out of here. So next up, our next game is Monday, as we got Monster of the Week. Tuesday, normally Tuesdays is Steven's night to GM, but Aaron is going to be taking over for a couple weeks, as we're going to be running Heroic Deeds, game one of our friend Pete from Garbli Games has up on Kickstarter right now. So we're going to give that a go so you can kind of see what it's like and maybe back it yourselves. Thursday, Werewolf the Apocalypse. We're getting very close to the end with that one. Probably have 2 or 3 more episodes left before we hit the end of that. Friday, Wrath and Glory, Warhammer Wrath and Glory. And then obviously Saturday, we'll be back with this crazy game. In addition to that, go ahead and check out the Discord. We have a brand new Discord. Links in the notes, links in the chat, all that kind of fun stuff. Where we are doing all sorts of things, including what, Stephen? What else can you do besides just talk with us over there on that Discord?
Well, if that's not good enough, I don't know what is good enough to get you to join the Discord. However, I am working on my own tabletop RPG system. It's a Weird West game, action horror, focusing on very cinematic moments. I like to describe it as Hellboy and Tombstone. And we are playtesting it on the Discord. So if you would like to get in a session, that is a possibility. You can play with me. Occasionally, some of these people might join in, and we can have a lot of fun. So please do that.
Perfect. And then what else we got? Also check out the links for Chuck's game, Teenage Odyssey. That's coming up on Kickstarter in a couple weeks as well. And I feel like I'm forgetting something. Check out the YouTube page, Adventures in Lollygagging, all that good stuff. And
I think we're good.
I think we're good. I think that's it. We're going to go ahead and raid our friends over at Lost Caravan RPG. Looks like they're playing some Pathfinder. So follow that raid. If you haven't already followed the channel, please do. And come hang out with us and say hi on Discord. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
I'll be seeing you.